So, my birthday was a couple months ago, and with my new age, I came to the realization that I'm getting old. Like, quarter life crisis old. With that quarter life crisis comes a desire for change. One thing I've always wanted to do with my life is make video games. I dream of making a video game that resonates with people and makes them feel a wider range of emotions. It's something I've been passionate about for a long time now. So, I participated in Scream Jam 2025, a week-long event where I have to make a horror game. It was a wild week, and I'm happy to get to take you with me as I show you how my game, Dial Tone, was made. Let's get to it. So, I've dabbled around with horror games in the past, but never actually made one. Horror games have a huge range of areas they can go to. I can make a walking simulator with a ghoul that runs up and scares you, or I could do something psychological. It took me a couple days of brainstorming, but I settled on making a creepypasta/analog horror game. It has a focus on telling a real story, and not just a paranormal one, but with some paranormal aspects. We'll get into that later. I was slightly inspired by Ben Drowned, which is a story of a kid who drowned and haunted a copy of Majora's Mask. The creepy vibes of Zelda also had a hand in inspiring me to go this route. I remember walking around Hyrule Castle as adult Link, and the first time I was grabbed by those fucking things. I also wanted to make the game a bit sad and bleak, something you might think about a bit after playing the game. Those types of games were always my favorite personally. Now, let's get to the hard part. So to make this game, we need a game engine. I've dabbled in quite a few, but my go-to favorite one is by far Construct 3. It's made some pretty cool stuff, and it allows simple, non-thinking creatures like me to code and not be 100% lost along the way. It's also got some cool built-in behaviors that makes prototyping games much less of a chore. I started off with a test room, got a player character made, got him walking around with some animations, and look at him go. With just a couple behaviors, we have something really cool already, but it's missing a few more things. I really wanted to have a CRT filter. To me, that helps sell the horror game aspect more. So, while we're at it, let's add a camera system so we can move to different rooms. Look at that. What we have now feels really good to play, and it looks a bit ominous, which is a bonus. Lastly, to keep it simple, I want to add a small amount of combat, something the player will be able to do rather than just walk around. We add a few animations for the sword swing, place several pots in a room, and we make it to where the pots, when they collide with the player's sword, they explode. And there we go. The hard part wasn't actually that hard after all. Now, let's get to the fun part. So now that we have a player, we can start focusing on the environment and level design. I wanted to start the player off with something that feels familiar, a title screen and a home. You can't just throw the player into a scary world right off the bat. You have to have a little bit of contrast, even if it's for a short period of time. This helps sell the scare. Now, we have a baseline to escalate and raise tension. I added in some music, and I made it feel nice and normal. But what's this at the top of the screen? Player 2? This game's going to use some environmental storytelling to help tell you what had happened without flat out telling you. So, once our player walks around and gets familiar with the game, they'll eventually notice the door to the next room. This is where we put our first sign that something isn't quite right. I like it when horror games put a blink and you'll miss it, but the problem with them is that you can easily miss it. The real trick to making them work is subtly guiding the player to that conclusion. By having the player look up to go to the next part of the map, we're directing their attention to the HUD. Notice where it says Player 2? That tells the player, hey, we can have a friend join in. And while you head up to progress, I put a little subtle makeshift grave near the top of the screen. When you enter it, you'll see this guy pop up. Now, you'll instantly notice that a Player 2 has joined the game at the top of the screen, and the portrait helps tell you that the blink and you'll miss it character is actually our Player 2. So without telling the player anything, we've already established that something paranormal is happening, and our game is making us know that we are not alone. Now that we raised some tension a little, we can start to mess with the player a bit more. I added a dungeon to walk through and get your sword. Once we get it, I told the player how to use the sword, as well as put a roadblock, so the player now knows they can smash pots and have to smash pots to progress. Keep the progression idea in mind for a little second. After smashing a few pots, we get to our first real scare. With no way to progress, we do the only thing we are subconsciously told to do to progress: swing your sword. To anyone who caught that sound, that was the sound of a Wii crashing. I use that noise particularly because I felt that it's a relatable crashing noise that a lot of people had experience with. I know when I heard that for the first time when I was younger, that sent me into shock. I think of it like an emergency alert system. Now that the game has crashed, let's talk about... Now for our game loop. A game loop is a series of actions that we repeat. Our game loop here is menu, familiarity, tension, scare, and story. This basic method will repeat a couple times to the end of the game. Every game has its core mechanic, but in other ways, some being extremely complex. I challenge you to think of the core loop the next time you play a game. So after developing out the core loop of our game, it's time to create the rest of the experience. This includes changing the environment around, creating different types of scary moments, and subtly telling the story piece by piece. Most of this work came down to editing some tiles around and creating some event flags so certain stuff can happen. After the long 4-day development cycle I had with the game, I created the ending, wrapped it up, and published it on itch.io for the Screen Jam. So far, it looks like the people who played the game seem to enjoy it. If you'd like to play the game for yourself, I have a link to it in the description below so you can go check it out. I also have a video of me playing the full game on my channel, which I will link in this video as well. So if you'd rather watch someone play it, that's your opportunity. The game is a very short 5 minutes in length, and it's very worth your time, in my opinion at least. I also would appreciate any feedback on the game so I can make the next game even better. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye! What you call me?